welcome to Random Gaming Talk. It's Entertainment Talks podcast for video games. I am your host Matthew. Joining me today, my co-host is Robert. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Doing good. So, I usually ask you what you've been playing, but we've both been playing the same big talked about game at the moment, Cyberpunk 2077. We're gonna do basically a segment here at the start. I know that we include the news usually later, but we're gonna lump it all together as a big Cyberpunk sort of segment here, both with our impressions and with some big news about the game as well. But how do you feel? What's your impressions so far?
Uh, Definitely doesn't feel ready for prime time. I mean, I would have hated another delay, but it's clear that it needed another delay. Outside of that, I mean, I've had a few small bugs. Generally, my hair doesn't load up on my character. A couple times, the health bar didn't load up. I would have the health bar. I could, shoot, whatever. It just never actually displayed.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime like a hint would pop up, it would do like a hard freeze for like a good 4 or 5 seconds. But nothing like game crashy, game ending. But other than that, I mean, it's okay. Doesn't look very good on my 1S. I gotta admit,
So,
it's
so what are you
they
playing it
would have
on?
never been able to only put it on next gen consoles, but I got a feeling this should have just been exclusive to the next gen consoles.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I'm in a bit of a torn situation because from my own actual, I mean, I've seen loads of videos of the bugs and the glitches and all sorts of just crazy stuff happening. Some of which is like funny bugs and glitches, and some of which is like, okay, come on, this game like is kind of broken. But then I've seen other people like myself say that okay, yeah, like the frame rates are a bit off. There's a few I've had glitches here and there, but none of them have actually interrupted my like gameplay. Like I haven't had my car like fly up into the air or fallen through the world or anything like that. The only glitch that I had the other day was you did a mission and then you wake up in your apartment or whatever, and I thought, okay, I'll equip V with who's the guy that you play as, equip him, with clothes and guns, and get myself, ready to go out into the world and that. Put on all his clothes and stuff, and some of them he didn't have on. I think it was his trousers and his boots that he didn't have on. Obviously, I can't see the player's, couldn't at the time see the player's face, so I don't know if he had the glasses that I put on him, because I didn't, you can like look in the mirror in your apartment. I didn't do that before I left. I just sort of clicked on the buttons to get the clothes rather on, and then that was it. So I didn't actually see the top half of my character. I've not really had much else bad that's happening. The only two things that have really not quite gone right for me is there's a few frame rate issues, which I did actually kind of expect, and load times, but I'm fine with long load times, especially for a game like this on a PS4, because in case some of you don't know, I'm playing on a base PS4, not a launch one, because mine isn't from 2013. I got mine a couple of years ago, so mine's a bit of a better performing sort of PlayStation 4, but it's sort of like you're either going to get kind of three experiences from this game. Either you're going to play it in the state that I've got it, which like, okay, there's a few problems here and there, but playable 85 to 90% of the time, and I've gotten into the story a bit more. There's a lot of characters to kind of get used to, or like to get to know them and that sort of thing, and that's all been good. The combat I struggled with originally, but I kind of just needed to get into the groove of things, and now that I have done that, and I feel like I'm at a point with the game as well where, okay, I probably need some better weapons. That will happen later when I either buy some or craft them or whatever. So you're either going to have an experience like that, or something that's a bit more in the middle where, okay, a few things will happen to you, but you'll generally enjoy the game. Or you'll have the other experience, which is where this game's just a complete massive car crash for you. So, cause as I was playing this game and, in different sessions and things, because I streamed the first hour that I did, which that all went pretty well. There's a few little problems here and there, but nothing that broke the game or really got in my way. I was kind of thinking to myself that, okay, the message that I've been, saying about on this podcast, don't accept, stop accepting bad AAA video games. How does this game apply to that? well, I mean, yeah, the broken version of the game that I've seen, that's a bad AAA video game. But the version that I've got, which is a better performing version, and I'm lucky to have that version, is a better AAA game. So, the question I've kind of been asking myself: does Cyberpunk fall under the category of a bad AAA game that you shouldn't accept? It depends on what version of the game that you actually get, which is a bit of a sort of roll of the dice as far as I've seen. But where do you kind of stand on all that?
Yeah, I definitely want to like it more than I do, I guess would
Yeah,
be the best way to
there's a lot
say
of good
that.
things. Really, there's really a lot of good things going for this game. A ton of
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I can definitely see the potential in it. It's just not there yet. But then you got to remember, Witcher 3, when that first came out, that was a buggy clusterfuck of a mess and eventually
yeah,
became the amazing game that it is now.
hmm
So I think it will get there eventually. It's just not there right now.
yeah, yeah. I mean, to answer my own kind of question about like, is this a bad AAA video game? My experience with it isn't what I'd class as a bad AAA video game. Therefore, I'm accepting the game. So, um, yeah, that's kind of the experience that I've had. In terms of like the level of bugs and glitches that you've had, how has that sort of gone for you? Is there anything really bad that sort of happened, or has it been under control for the most part?
Nothing super bad. I mean, nothing like really makes me want to like throw the controller at the wall or something like that. It's
Mm,
just most of it is just it doesn't look very good on my system. And unfortunately, since it is a console, there's nothing I can really do about that.
mm-hmm.
I have seen better um, versions, running on higher end PCs.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things that, again, like we talked about before, this was gonna be christening my Series X, and obviously that didn't happen. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I've even heard from different people that have all kind of said like they've got top of the line PCs. Some of which have said like, yeah, this is a great experience. Some of which have said like, look, I've got a really, really good PC, but this game's kind of still broken for me. So when you whether it's on PS4 or Xbox or PC or whatever versions of whatever consoles that you've got, or a Series X or PS5, you're more likely, I think, to experience it in a bad way on an old PS4 or on an old Xbox, which neither of us are playing on a console like that. In that sort of state, because like I said, my PS4 isn't an old one. It's only a couple of years old, really. It's not a launch 2013 PlayStation 4 is what I'm trying to say. It still just does seem like it's okay when you install that game, when you boot it up, it's a roll of the dice as to what you're gonna get. So there was one mission yesterday I played actually that confused me a little bit. You know when I'm not gonna get into spoilers here. I'm just gonna sort of explain the mission a little bit. You know when you have to get your, when you go to get your car back,
hmm
yeah, and you get in the car and you immediately have a car crash, like that car crashes into you. I straight away thought, okay, I've got into this car and like an NPC's crashed straight into me, and I thought like, oh, I can't get out of this car, and this is terrible. But that's actually scripted because that's part
yeah,
of the mission that you do. So I was like, oh, well, great, here we go. My car's like flown up into the air or whatever, or it's sort of just car crash. And I couldn't get out of the car straight away. I thought, great, I'm stuck in this car. This is my first bad glitch, and this is terrible. But no, it's actually scripted and it's part of the mission. So I'm glad that wasn't a bug, because I've seen videos of people being in their cars and they'll either not crash into something or they'll hit something, and then your car will just fly through the sky, and then when you go to land, it will just fall through the world and all that kind of thing. So um, I've got other issues with this game actually, other than its performance and things. I think the characters are quite good in this. I did just get to the part where you meet, this isn't a spoiler, he's been all over the promotion. Johnny Silverhand, Keanu Reeves' character. I've sort of just gotten to that part, which is, how far would you say that is? 6 hours? 8 hours? Something like
it's
that?
at the start of Act Two, so not that long into it, really.
Yeah, yeah. Depends on
Basically,
depends
all of
on what
Act,
side stuff that you've done and all that. But
yeah,
yeah.
not counting side missions. The main mission for Act One is basically just a really extended tutorial.
Mhm. Um, And just a note on that as well, not to carry on with what I was saying before. I have found this game to be um like if you do just kind of follow the story, you can almost play it like a linear video game. Like if you just keep going through the story, because it very rarely actually breaks away from that, which is, I found really interesting for an open world game. But what I was going to say a minute ago, I like the story, I like the characters, I like the story somewhat. I think this game's got some really bad pacing issues. Like how the story is kind of told. There is a lot of okay, go to do this thing and then stop, and then you get injured or something happens, and it feels like there's a lot of stop and start in this game. How do you kind of feel about the pacing and things?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of hit and miss with the pacing.
Mm,
It's kind of hard for me to talk about because I don't want to do spoilers, but I
right.
have ran into things to where I try to do something like non-violently and then I get stuck in a way that I can't not be non-violent. And then when I have to violent my way out of that building, then the AIs are just standing there waiting for me to shoot them in the face.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think of the combat so far?
Uh, Hit or miss. Shooting's kind of all over the place. There's no real tight feeling of that.
Hmm.
I've done a little bit of melee. I don't get it either.
Yeah. I really want to get one of them arm blades because I haven't got one yet. Which they tease you a little bit because you go to get like an augmentation thing from one of the missions, and I was like, oh, the blade is there. Because I remember when they first talked about that, and they talked about like melee combat and the different weapons you could get. Because I think melee combat will be a lot easier with them. So yeah, it's a bit awkward when like you haven't got a gun in certain situations and someone's firing at you and you're trying to sort of dodge out their way a little bit and then punch them in the face. That can be sort of slightly awkward. Um, the actual handling of the guns I find to be kind of an interesting challenge at certain points. I mean, some of the like the submachine guns in this game feel really, really weak. And again, maybe I haven't got like the most powerful ones or whatever. I've actually found the pistols and the shotguns to be my more go-to kind of guns. Not the revolver that you get at the start. I found that to be really poor. But there was a couple of pistols that I used that I found to be way more powerful than the assault rifles. And the shotgun, I like using some of the shotguns in the game as well. They've been pretty good. So,
Yeah, you got to really, really read into the stats because some of them
yeah,
will seem
yeah,
weak because of the DPS numbers, but then they'll have like all kinds of status effects, and that'll really change how effective some guns are. So,
mhm, yeah. What do you tend to try to use?
uh, generally pump shotgun,
Yeah,
especially since at least in this build before whatever next patch comes out, the AI just tends to stand there and do nothing, so I can run up and just unload in their face and just do massive amounts of damage.
yeah, yeah. I found a couple of times with the shotguns, I was able to actually like knock an enemy over onto the floor, not by hitting them, but by shooting them, and
Hmm.
I'll just keep pumping bullets into them on the floor. I actually found that to be quite fun. Um, Yeah, one of the complaints I heard about this game is the enemies are a bit bullet spongy. I think that's both I don't think that's actually a problem with the game. I think that's a combination of you've got to remember that you're not fighting always against normal humans. You're fighting against either people that have got cybernetics or actual robots in certain situations. So they're gonna be better than humans because they've got augmentations and stuff. And like you said, with some of the guns just being really quite weak, I think it's a combination of both of those things. Because you're not just shooting normal humans. So,
Yeah.
but overall, I am enjoying my time with it. It is a little bit hit and miss here and there. I just want the game to stop doing this. Like my biggest actual problem with the game isn't to do with the technical stuff again because the dice that I rolled, I got a slightly better version of the game. Um, I just want the story to stop being so stop and start and let me kind of like get into the missions and start upgrading my weapons. I'm really excited to keep doing that kind of stuff. And like start getting some augmentations and start getting some of these like cooler weapons and more powerful weapons. I'm looking forward to not the grind of that, but the sort of progression of that as well. The characters have been kind of interesting. Some of them a bit more forgettable than others, but they've mostly been quite good. So, um, but yeah, that's my general sort of feelings. I've actually got more problems with the pace of the story than the actual technical aspects of the game. But yeah, that's overall how I feel. I think we've kind of said our feelings on the game. Let's tie some news bits into here actually, because we're sort of finished with our impressions a little bit. What did you want to talk about news-wise from the game?
I just think it's interesting all the reactions to it. Sony actually delisting it off of their store digitally.
Yeah, you can't find it on
Um,
there like at the moment.
Sony and
Did
Microsoft and
did
Box
it?
Store Best Buy offering refunds of the games.
Yeah, did it get taken off the Microsoft Store?
Not yet. You can still purchase it digitally, but they did expand their refund policies.
Yeah.
Now, however, you can request a refund. That doesn't mean you'll actually get it. I forget with their refund policy. Sometimes, if you played it for like so many hours, they won't refund it,
Mm.
which makes sense. But yeah, just I feel bad for CD Projekt Red in the sense that they were really in a no-win situation. They couldn't have delayed it again. People would have lost their shit.
Yeah, and
Um,
some death threats, like because they
yeah,
already did it. So
so stupid people. Dear God.
yeah.
Um,
I'll tell you the ironic thing about that, right? So you've got a developer who's making a game that you're looking forward to. Good. They delayed it because they want it to be better, and then you want to kill that person
yeah.
that's making the game that you are looking forward to. And if you kill that person, then they can't release the game. It doesn't really work. But anyway, that's a different point.
Yeah, and the only tiniest bit of excuse that I'll give for that, and it's not even a big one, is just this year has been such shit that everybody's at their breaking point. I'm
mm,
still not forgiving people for saying that, but
there's more frustration in the world than
oh
normal.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but yeah,
the only thing more in abundance right now than frustration is hydrogen. Um,
yeah. So
yeah, still just don't do that.
yeah, be nice to the people that make things that you're looking forward to. It's as simple as that. So, but yeah, it sucks what's happened with this game. And look, if you got your dice rolled and you ended up with the worst version of the game, it's not our job to say sorry because we're not in charge of any of this. But me and Robert were lucky enough to get better versions of this game. It is strange how that kind of works. I think that's just a victim of this thing being available in so many different places. Like you got the Xbox One, you got the Xbox One S, the Series X, the Series S, the Series X, and then you've got the PS4, the PS5, and then you've got the PS4 Pro, and then the PS5 Digital, and then you've got the loads of different versions of PC. They did probably get themselves in a situation where there was just too many different things for them to release this game on. I'm not putting that out there as an excuse. I'm just putting that out there as a sort of, this is probably why that happened. But I don't know. So, but anything else you want to add to this? I think we've kind of spoken
Yeah,
here.
it's one of those things that, if you're thinking about saying something, just take a beat, take a breath, and then think, is this something that I really want to put out in the world?
Mm,
Because that's what I do with anything. I'll type it out and I'll think, okay, do I want to put this out in the world? And then I'll either go yes or no.
mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's pretty much it for Cyberpunk. I'm gonna end that segment here. I am gonna clip this out and sort of release it as its own little Cyberpunk impressions kind of thing. Anything else you've been playing?
A little bit of this and that. Did a couple of sessions of Among Us on Mel's stream the other day. That's a lot of fun.
Cool.
One of her regulars is actually a musician and wrote a bop song about Among Us called Murder Beans. Because
Cool.
your character looks like a little bean and you go around murdering everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That was that one clip that I sent you on Facebook.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's hilarious. Fun game, especially when it's with your friends. Maybe a couple pints in, it can be a lot of fun. Other than that,
This is probably a stupid question, but I need the answer anyway. Is that cross-platform on everything that it's on?
I don't know.
Okay,
It was a mobile game, and then it got ported to PC. So I know that you can play on PC and mobile. It's supposed to be part of Game Pass on PC now,
okay.
and then Xbox after the new year.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta imagine it's gonna be cross-platform between PC and Xbox if it's gonna be between PC and mobile devices.
Mm.
I don't know if it's coming to PlayStation or not. I can't imagine why it wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
fun game. It's also a very minimal requirement games because we
Yeah.
were talking about that off
The-
air when I was telling you about it. It plays on Windows 7. That's how little of a computer you need to play the game.
Huh, cool. I think during the Game Awards they announced that it's on Switch as well, so I need to look into that.
Yeah, it's coming out on Switch. It's a fun game.
Mhm.
The Switch's internet thing. Good luck trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, just have to go on Discord or something. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I did get a new phone the other day, which was good because I really needed one. Because the battery on the other one was terrible. And I did download Among Us on my phone, so I've got it at least in one place, and then of course I can play it on Switch if I need to. So yeah, at some point we do need to. I was gonna say link up. Is that the right word? Team up, party up, or
Yeah.
whatever.
I would love like a cross between with us and Geek Town. Just get like
Mhm.
Gray and Matt and Bex and a couple other
Mhm.
people.
How
Just
many
get that
how many
in.
people can you like have in one?
Minimum 5. The way it works is there's a maximum of 10,
Okay.
and then whoever's creating the basic game can say there's either one imposter or two imposters, and then change the different aspects of how many tasks to do and whatnot, and how fast the kill cooldown is, and other aspects to it. Um, but yeah, I mean it's not really that hard of a requirement. I actually pulled it up here on the Steam page.
Mhm.
System requirements: Windows 7 Service Pack 1, processor SSE2 instructional set, basically any processor in any computer in the last 5 years, 1 gig of RAM, 250 megs of space. That's it. It is a super
Huh.
minimal game.
Interesting.
Like your laptop, as much as you complain about your laptop, you could do it on your laptop.
Yeah.
Um,
So cool.
but
All
yeah,
right,
I
we'll
mean,
we'll try and work something out at some point then. So
yeah,
there's
holidays are
there's
coming
certainly
up.
some options for me where to play it. So
Yeah,
we'll look into
with
that.
holidays coming up, there's gonna be a lot more free time for most people, so it's gonna be
Mhm.
easier to try to set something up.
Yeah. Cool. The other thing I've been playing is Call of Duty Modern Warfare, of course. They finally put revives back into Cyber Attack. Hooray! It took them far too long, but I'm glad they're back in. You know, I can't complain now because they are back in the game. It makes Cyber Attack such a different game mode. It's funny because when they took or if you want to say accidentally took revives out, Cyber Attack basically turns into Search and Destroy just with shorter bomb times. Because on Search it takes you 7 seconds to defuse or plant, and on Cyber Attack it takes 1 second to defuse or plant. So it is still a different game in terms of that, but with Search and Destroy you can't revive, and with Cyber Attack you can, and it's a big part of the game. But they put they put an update out, and in the patch notes it said like there was no prompt basically to so that the feature was probably still there, but you couldn't actually activate like the revive meter, because basically you have your teammate has like a little cross over their body or near their body, depending on where they died and stuff. And then you go over to that and it gives you a prompt. You hold down the button, a bar goes up, and you get revived. So they put that back in, and it's just much better. It's been interesting because I've kind of almost gotten used to not reviving, and now I have to get used to reviving again. But it's been good to have that back. So it's made for some quite good games, and they put the battle pass back on as well. It is the season 1 battle pass, so it's the Cold War one. Kind of got a little bit of an explanation to my answer, because a question I've had over the last several weeks is they've been explaining that your progress for Warzone and for Cold War will transfer over to Modern Warfare, and my question's always been, how does that work when both games are set in different time periods with completely different weapons, some of which aren't on both games? I sort of got the answer. So basically what it is, right, because I haven't got Cold War, I'm not playing it, I'm playing Modern Warfare. As I've been because everyone got reset to rank 1, you've still got all your weapon unlocks and that, but every season in your rank resets anyway. So everybody's rank got reset to 1, which is fine. That was sort of supposed to happen. As I've been ranking up, I've been unlocking guns, and I keep checking them and thinking like, okay, what have I unlocked in this game? I'm unlocking guns and perks for Black Ops Cold War. So how I think this basically works is, if I'm assuming it's working the same way on the other game, if you're getting leveled up in Cold War or in Modern Warfare, you can unlock guns for the other game, So basically, let's say I go on there later and I get ranked up twice. I unlock a gun for Cold War. I can then go onto that game, which I haven't got or whatever. Can go onto there, and then the weapon should be unlocked for me. It's I mean Call of Duty multiplayer has been around since 2007 with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I've never ever known them to do this before, which is interesting. What do you think about that? Like kind of this weird progression between the two games.
It's kind of odd.
It is odd, yeah.
I mean, that's not a genre of games that I actively play, so I really couldn't talk too much on that.
Mhm.
Um, Kind of just it's a little confusing.
Hmm.
Not quite sure how that's gonna work, but we'll just see, I guess.
Yeah. It'll be a bit like let's say Ghost of Tsushima and Cyberpunk connected or something, yeah? And you got to a certain point in Ghost of Tsushima and you unlocked like a new sword and then you went and loaded up Cyberpunk and that sword was available in that game. That's basically how it works. And then let's say, I know there aren't guns in Ghost of Tsushima, but like let's say you unlock a gun in Cyberpunk, it would then be available in Ghost of Tsushima. So it's like you can unlock things in the other game to use, and yeah, it is weird. It's kind of interesting, and to my knowledge, Call of Duty's never done that before.
Yeah, the only
So
time I can think of anything like that happening is GTA Online had unlocks that would sync with Red Dead 2.
huh, okay. Again,
Like
that's
if you do
strange because
certain,
they're both different time periods.
yeah,
Hmm.
but like if you do stuff in Red Dead 2 Online, it'll unlock stuff in GTA Online and vice versa. It wasn't ever really like a big thing. It was just like guns. Obviously, you're not gonna have laser guns in Red Dead 2, but
Right, right, yeah. But interesting stuff nonetheless. I think we've had more than enough sort of pre-talk here. Obviously, we had the Cyberpunk section. So let's take a quick break. We'll go into some housekeeping, and then we'll get into the Game Awards and some other news as well. See you in a minute. Hi there, and thanks very much for listening. Today I'm here to tell you about our two different affiliate links. The first of which is our Amazon affiliate link. That's where you can shop on Amazon. We can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you anything extra. So whether you're getting a gift for somebody else or treating yourself, or maybe both depending on the occasion, we can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you extra. You can find the link to our Amazon affiliate link in your show notes. The second affiliate link for today is our Kualu affiliate link. If you want to get started with a website and a domain name of your choice, you can simply sign up with Kualu using the link in the show notes. They also have a live chat support system that's in the bottom right hand corner as well. So if you need help with getting set up, Kualu will be able to help you with that as well. The links for both of these can be found in your show notes for Kualu and the Amazon affiliate link. If you would like to get the ad-free versions of Entertainment Talks podcast and support us along the way, you can simply sign up over on our Patreon page. You can sign up either as a creator or as a patron. There's no difference there for the time being. And you can get your ad-free podcasts over there. It's a great way to support us on Entertainment Talk and to get rid of the ads and get your ad-free podcasts. You can also support Entertainment Talk on Patreon at the $3 level tier. This gets you a chance to request a review from us of your favourite TV show or film, but it's one per month, so one TV show or film review per month. It's up to you which one you want to choose. We will watch a few episodes of the TV show that you choose, or of course if it's a film, we'll just watch that film and we will review that for you on that month. And then when it gets to the next month, you can request a new TV show or a film review of your choice. That's $3 level tier. That does also of course include your ad-free podcasts for the month as well. Thank you very much for listening and enjoy the rest of the show. Alright, recently on Entertainment Talk, I haven't uploaded it yet, but Manchester United did beat Leeds by 6-2 today. Very good performance. Still some questions defensively, because there always is. But Manchester United have beaten Leeds today by 6-2, and look out for that podcast roughly when this one is uploaded as well. I haven't edited it or anything, I've just recorded it. So look out for that, and we play it against Everton in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday. as well, so look out for all of that in the future. Let's Play Sunday's episode for Crash Bandicoot 4, Discovering Star Trek still continuing, Season 3 Episode 10, so that's still been very, very good this season. United Cast, the previous game was 3-2 win against Sheffield United. Sheffield United, who've not won a game this season, but it's good to beat them. Analysing TV, Episode 5, talking about the future of BBC, Star, FX and Hulu. BBC have got the deal with FX at the moment, and Star is coming into play for the UK in February. That should have the Hulu shows, but could it have the FX shows? Depends on what happens with the BBC deal. There was plenty to talk about there. Last week, I received a gift from someone who works on the set of The Walking Dead World Beyond, one of the Walking Dead shows that we podcast on, because we podcast on all the shows. It's very, very, very good to receive that gift, a letter and a photo and some other bits and pieces. So me and David did a special podcast where we read the letter out, or I read the letter out, and talked about the experience and all that sort of stuff. So that was very, very good to do as well. The Undoing series finale on HBO and Sky Atlantic aired a few weeks ago. And myself and Gray talked about it. It's a spoiler-only podcast, so if you haven't seen The Undoing's final episode, and presumably the rest of the series, the limited series, you'll need to do that before you listen to that podcast. We've got, what else have we got here? Couple of other things. Spider-Man 3 for 2021 has got some casting news. I've discussed some of that, and yeah, that's pretty much what we've been doing on entertainmenttalk.org and on podcast platforms. I believe after we finish recording this today, we're doing a Mandalorian Season 2 review. You still up for doing that afterwards?
Oh, absolutely.
Cool. So look for all of that on entertainmenttalk.org and on podcast platforms. I just need to find a photo that I've got here related to The Last of Us. I'll find it in a minute. But we had the Game Awards very recently. It was last week on Thursday, I think. I did watch it in the morning. I didn't stay up until 2 a.m. or whatever it was. So you didn't watch the awards. You didn't have as much interest as me and that sort of thing. But you did see some trailers. Any thoughts on any of the trailers that you saw?
Hang on, let me pull up the trailers, because I've slept since then, so
Right. I'm just trying to find this photo that I've got for The Last of Us. There it is.
I think Vin Diesel in the Ark sequel is kind of weird. That's definitely
Yeah.
That was a head scratcher.
That was strange.
The Mass Effect reveal trailer makes no sense, but
so what are they? Yeah, speaking of that, Mass Effect will continue.
Yeah, basically the trailer was just in the universe and somebody's digging around on a planet, and then you see the N7 badge.
Yeah, on like a headpiece or something.
No, just like a patch, like a patch you would see
something
on
like that. Yeah,
a jersey. Hood looks kind of interesting. Outside of that, I mean, there wasn't really anything that blew me away. So
yeah, not too many big reveals. There was a few to talk about. I'll talk about the trailers I've got written down in a minute. But let's go through the awards themselves. Not all of them. The big winner, Last of Us 2, won 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 awards. I actually didn't realize they'd won that many until I started seeing. Like, I was watching the awards and keeping track, of course, but yeah, so it won for Game of the Year, Best Performance, which is Laura Bailey as Abby, Ashley Johnson as Ellie was the other one that was nominated in terms of Last of Us, but Laura Bailey won that. Innovation in Accessibility, so that is basically those less able to play games to be able to help them out with like colorblind stuff and just loads of other things as well. I didn't look at the Last of Us's accessibility options because I luckily didn't need to. Obviously things like subtitles are in there as well, but they won for that. Best Action Adventure Game, Best Audio Design, Best Game Direction, and Best Narrative. Obviously, I was very, very, very happy. I don't think it's any secret that it's my game of the year, unless you're new here on Entertainment Talk. This could be a first one podcast from us that you're listening to. Very, very happy. I did actually think that Ghost was gonna, well, not nick, but get game of the year. What do you think about the game of the year there? Did you think Ghost was gonna maybe get it? Because I did actually think it was going to.
Well, that's kind of what annoyed me about the Game Awards and why I didn't watch it, because they put that poll out for who they thought should win,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Vote
Neil
thing, yeah.
Druckmann basically just whines like a baby on Twitter about, we should win this, and then everybody overreacts and mass votes Ghost to the top,
Yeah.
and
That
then
was the is it Player's
yeah,
Voice or something?
yeah, player's voice.
Yeah.
And then Last of Us 2 wins, and then everybody is going at Jeff Keighley like, what the hell? And they said, oh, the player's voice only counts for 10%. Like, then why fucking do it?
10% of what?
The votes that they did for the poll for which game should win only counts towards 10% of the voting for Game of the Year.
Right. Is that the same for every category then? Because I would assume that
I
it
don't
is.
know. That's the only category I ever saw getting a public
Mm-hmm.
vote.
What was weird to me is because that was a publicly revealed like score for the
Uh-huh.
for the vote, the player's voice, because you couldn't look up who was winning Game of the Year or Best Audio Design or whatever. You simply went on the Game Awards site, voted, and that was it, and then shared it on Facebook and Twitter if you wanted to. Because I remember when the nominees came out, we went through them. Player's Voice, whatever it's called, wasn't on there. And then like a few days later, after we recorded and stuff, that sort of popped up. So I didn't even know that was a thing. And then Ghost won that, which was cool. Um, Interesting. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima did win Best Art Direction. I would argue, as much as I love Last of Us 2, and I'm not gonna say the opposite because there's no point in me saying I don't love the game because I do. Um, I would argue that, a lot of the scenery in Ghost of Tsushima, with the grass and stuff and the way that the wind blows and how kind of cinematic it can be. I'm not talking about graphics, I'm talking about cinematics. Is very, very good. That's one of the game's strong points, I think, as well. So I would say it does deserve to win probably art direction. That's why one of the the combat was really good. The story for me was hit and miss. The characters were good for the most part. We did review the game if you want to know more of our thoughts and stuff. Just search for Ghost of Tsushima on the website. But yeah, the two things that did stick out to me about Ghost was, okay, you're doing some quite good things with like the cinematic storytelling. Even things like, when Jin goes to do a duel with someone, and you get the sort of cinematic nature of that, which I think was a little bit like what you talked about from those old films and things. And in the gameplay, it's basically it's the best Assassin's Creed game, I think, as well. I know it's not an Assassin's Creed game, but in terms of like comparing the stealth and it's got very, very similar sort of stealth gameplay and that kind of thing. It's already done that better than any Assassin's Creed game ever has, and I've got to give it a lot of credit for that. But yeah, what do you think of Ghost for getting best art direction?
Oh yeah, it was absolutely a beautiful game. Not
Mm-hmm.
even just with the graphics. I mean, it was beautiful with the graphics, but like you were saying, the cinematic nature of it, and that's one of the reasons why I loved it so much, was that it reminded me of those old samurai movies I grew up on as a kid, which I know
Mm-hmm.
you didn't.
Yep.
And that's just neither here nor there, but that's just what it reminded me of. And the fact that they would put in a grainy movie filter and call it Kurosawa mode after getting permission from the Kurosawa family to actually call it that,
Mm-hmm.
just shows that that was their influence as well.
Definitely, yeah. They did a great job with all that, so I can't and won't take that away from the game. I know Last of Us is more my thing. I'm obviously very, very happy because I was sitting there and you've got Christopher Nolan, was it? I think that read out the nominations. I just thought that he was going to say Ghost of Tsushima because I was nervous, obviously. But it just meant that I cared about my favorite game winning. So yeah, I know you're not the Last of Us guy. I am. But what do you think of it winning what it won?
Not surprised. I mean, I've
Mm-hmm.
never denied that it was a good game. I've never
Mm-hmm.
denied that, it's a very engaging game for those people that it engages with. It's one of those things that it never clicked with me.
Fair enough.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't get 10 people in a room and agree what the best combination of toppings is on pizza. So
Yeah.
you're never going to get full consensus on this is the game of the year. But given how well it sold, how well it reviewed, the fact that it was a stable functioning game for the most part,
Hmm.
not shocked that it got as many awards as it did.
Yep.
I definitely think it does a little bit of recency bias with it, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Would I've liked Ghost to win Game of the Year? Yeah, absolutely. Am I mad that it didn't? No, because I don't feel the need to put that kind of effort into those things.
Sure. Fair enough. Yeah, I think we can agree on those things. Um, but yeah, very very happy that it won all those things. It did win. They did like a PlayStation blog vote thing. It won Game of the Year there, and it won something else somewhere else. I can't remember exactly where it was, but it's won a lot of things basically, and I'm very very happy about that. So there we go. So that's pretty much the awards. The one that I was um disappointed on, but not surprised at all, is that Half-Life Alyx beat Iron Man VR, because nobody's played Iron Man VR apart from me. I know that's not true, but it's to me just so underrated. But given how much Half-Life Alyx was talked about, I wasn't surprised about that at all. The other one that I wasn't surprised about, but still a bit disappointed, Animal Crossing winning Family Game of the Year. Of course, I wanted Crash to win that, but again, Animal Crossing is a massive hit. It sold 15 million copies at least, probably more by this point, and people love that game as well. So just to sort of echo a bit what you've said, I know people love that game. Animal Crossing isn't my thing, and but it's a great game from what I've heard about it, and it's sold loads and loads of copies. You don't do that by accident, and it won the award for the category that it was in. So
Yeah, and when
good
you
stuff.
think about the timing, that game came out right when the first lockdown started happening.
Mm,
So you've got a
yeah.
game that literally the family can play. That's a very family friendly game.
Mm, yeah.
I'm not shocked that it won, family game. I honestly think it's well deserved.
Yeah.
I own it. I play it a little bit every now and then, not enough to really say, and this is what I'm playing. I'll do like 5-10 minutes here or there, because it's a very chore game. It's like you
Yeah.
you just set up chores for yourself to do, and then back and forth. But it's a great game for kids,
Yeah,
all kinds
definitely.
of stuff.
Yeah. So, but that's very, very good. Yeah, that was pretty much the awards that I remembered and that sort of thing. I don't think that you've got any others that you want to talk about. We covered the big ones pretty much.
Yeah.
So, going back to trailers, which I asked you about a minute ago, I wrote down the ones that I remembered and cared about. A new Abe trailer. Finally got well, not a date attached to it, but finally got I guess, time sort of thing attached to it. March 2021. If they had to delay it out of March 2021, I will be fine, because as long as the game's good and all that sort of thing, I'm not going to send them death threats, because that would be stupid. But if it comes out in March 2021, I'll be very very happy. I think this game looks very ambitious. I think it looks awesome. I think this could be the best Abe game, and I'm very very interested in the angle that they take on this, because this isn't a remaster of the second game. This is I don't know if I've told this story before, but basically when they were working on the first game, sorry, the original version of the second game, they had to scale back on what they were doing, because they had, I think it was 7 months to develop the second game, which was called Abe's Exodus. So this is, now that Oddworld Inhabitants is an independent company, or I think that they are at least, they're able to have obviously more time, because nobody can tell them what to do. So they're now working on I guess the original vision for the version of the game, which I'm very happy that they're able to go and do that sort of thing. I always feel like it's very annoying when you have, whether it's a director of a film or a developer of a game or a writer for a TV show or something, when you get your original version of whatever you've got cut down because of time or budget or corporate restraints or a mixture of all those. I just think it's great when creative people are able to go and make those sort of things. Bit like with the Snyder Cut, Zack wasn't able to make Justice League because of many different reasons to begin with. Now he's able to do it, and that will be great as well. But yeah, now that Oddworld Inhabitants is able to make this way more ambitious version of this new game. Granted, the second game is a PlayStation 1 game, and now we've gone so far past that, and you're able to do more ambitious things with it. So that definitely helps as well, of course. But yeah, I can't wait to see what this game looks like, and yeah, I just think it looks absolutely fantastic. Any thoughts on Abe yourself? I know that you've not mentioned it much before. I've sort of talked
Uh,
about more of it.
no, not really. It's not a game that's in kind of my wheelhouse, so I don't really have anything to say on it for that. So
Cool. Mass Effect will continue. We talked about that already. Do you think that is for the remastered trilogy or for the next game? Because if you're saying will continue, surely that's the next part of your story instead of the remastered part of your old
yeah,
story.
but I'm not quite sure where they're going to go with the story because the story had a
Hmm.
pretty definitive end, depending on which ending you took.
Yeah.
In the main trilogy. Andromeda, obviously, they got around that by going to a different part of the universe.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're gonna pick one of the endings and call that canon and then continue from there,
Hmm.
or if this is just gonna be the remaster. Uh, I honestly don't know. It's one of those things that I'd like more information before I really
Hmm.
make any kind of a decision.
Maybe it's just a general sort of the remastered trilogy is on its way. There's a new game in development, so Mass Effect will continue because it will get more released for it. I don't know. So, but that was an interesting little teaser. The Callisto Protocol from the Dead Space writers. I know that Bex plays Dead Space for her Saturday Scream stream things. Did you ever play much of Dead Space yourself?
Uh, I honestly don't remember. I have no idea if I have or not. That's kind of weird.
Huh.
I
Okay.
think I might have played like a demo, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, the devs from before that were working with EA got shut down, so they weren't able to do this with EA. Obviously, it's not called Dead Space; it's called something else, but it's very much going to be a spiritual successor to Dead Space, which will be great. I played about a couple of hours of the first game, backwards compatible on Xbox One. There wasn't a reason I didn't continue. I just didn't. It's one of them things. It's one of them things where like you enjoy something, you stop playing it for no reason, and then don't go back to it for no reason because we're humans and we do that sort of thing. But I'm looking forward to this anyway. I do still want to go back and play the Dead Space games, either on PS3 or on Xbox One. It'd be great if those could get not even necessarily remastered, just ported to either. Well, you got four options. You've either got Xbox One, PS4, PS5, or Xbox Series X that you could do sort of like ports for them, I suppose. But that's great. I'm again kind of echoing my thoughts on Abe. I'm glad that these writers are able to go back to what they like doing, go back to what they're good at doing after the after what happened with EA. They're able to go back and work on those games. I think that's great. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Back for Blood, which is from the Left 4 Dead developers. Any thoughts on that trailer, or the kind of the gameplay trailer, I suppose?
I don't understand why they're calling it Back for Blood. It's
I
basically
think it's
just
basically like a nod to like Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood.
yeah.
But
But I
they
mean,
they probably can't use Left 4 Dead because EA.
yeah.
So
No, I think that's Left 4 Dead. I think is owned by Steam.
the,
I
there
think.
must be a reason they can't use the Left 4 Dead name,
Uh,
like a legal
don't
name,
know, but
legal thing. Um, but anyway, yeah, I thought the gameplay trailer for that was interesting. See, for me, when it comes to, I've said before, I love zombie stories, I love post-apocalyptic stories, or those sort of futuristic, dystopian future kind of stories. I'm watching Raised by Wolves at the moment, which is very much a dystopian future sort of series. So I love all those sorts of things. I've never really quite been into these sort of arcadey zombie team kind of games like Left 4 Dead. I never really got into. There hasn't been too many more of them, to be honest. There was Evolve, which was sort of like that. That was more monsters than zombies, but I've never really been into those kind of arcadey team games kind of thing. But I'll give this a try. It's from a good set of developers, so yeah, we'll see how that works out. But yeah, like I was saying, there must be some sort of reason why they can't use the Left 4 Dead, unless it's like maybe a fresh start kind of thing, or I don't know. But the Back 4 Blood's got to be some sort of nod towards Left 4 Dead. So yeah, it's a bit of a callback, I suppose. So, the other thing that I want to talk about as well, the last news piece that I've actually got, because that was pretty much it from the Game Awards. You know, we had some other things that won stuff and some other trailers. They did show a bit more of Dragon Age, and like it's too early for me to kind of care about that at the moment. Oscar Isaac. So this is a bit of old news from a few weeks ago, but I wanted to bring it up. Oscar Isaac is in talks to play Solid Snake in a Metal Gear Solid film. Now, from what I know and from what I understand, Kojima isn't involved here. But somebody that he's worked with on the games is the director, from what I understand. Now, for me, when it comes to whether it's Metal Gear Solid or Silent Hill, especially with PT and that sort of thing, but more so with Metal Gear Solid, if you're going to do anything Metal Gear Solid, I don't care if it's a board game, it doesn't really matter. If it's going to be a comic book, TV show, film, game, you've really got to have Kojima in charge, so to speak. Whether it's the showrunner for a show or the director for the game or the director for a film. To me, if you're going to do anything Metal Gear related, you've got to have Kojima. I don't want him as just like an executive producer or something. I want him as the director. If you're going to do a TV show or a film, with a TV show, it would be showrunner would be the best option for him. The other thing, like the Metal Gear Solid has got a lot of lore to it. I don't think that the film is going to do that justice. Now, on the topic of Oscar Isaac, I think he's going to be great if he does play a Solid Snake, if this film does actually happen. But yeah, I almost think that it doesn't matter to me who you've got in the lead role. If you haven't got Kojima involved with something Metal Gear Solid related, I would almost say don't bother doing it, because he's just got such a very particular brand, weird and wonderful is how we sort of described it before. Nobody else can really do that in the same sort of way. Now you can have people like Christopher Nolan that do like weird stuff with Inception and with Tenet, and then you've got I think it's Noah Hawley. I can't remember the guy that did Legion on FX. That was sort of like timey-wimey and weird and all that sort of stuff, but Kojima's brand of that is just very, very specific, and I don't think anybody else could do that. But what do you think?
Honestly, that story is so convoluted between the different games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure you could even suss it out regardless of who's on it or not. I mean, let's be honest. That's some confusing shit right there for that whole series.
Yeah.
Past that, just wait till we see like a trailer or something.
Mm-hmm.
Make a judgment then.
Yeah, because this could still turn out to be like a cool spy thriller kind of espionage action film is what they could go for, but you've still got to kind of have that weird and wonderful stuff that Kojima does, and if you just don't have that there, it's just not the same thing, I think. So again, Oscar Isaac is a great actor. I really like him, but you need Kojima, I think. So but this film isn't coming out tomorrow or anytime soon, so we'll just have to wait and see how it plans out. I'm almost surprised that Kojima's name just hasn't been mentioned to be involved with this. So I think it's supposed to be a Sony film or something. I'd assume that he would be in there with Sony because of Death Stranding and the history with like PT and with Metal Gear Solid. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes in the future. But that's all the news I've got. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, we've got a ton of interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For our U.S. listeners. You might want to get on Twitter right now. Xbox is doing a Mandalorian-themed 2-controller giveaway. One featuring the title character and the other featuring Baby Yoda. Because who doesn't want controllers with Mando and Baby Yoda?
Sure.
It's free to enter, open to residents of the 50 U.S. states. You just have to go to the Xbox Twitter account, find the tweet, retweet it, and you're entered. Deadline is the 28th of this month, obviously. They're not going to drag this out super long. And good luck to whoever wins. Did you get a chance to see the what it looks like?
No, I have seen the season finale episode, which we'll talk about when we do the podcast. But no, I haven't seen the controllers. I'll have to have a look at those.
Yeah, they're the newer style. They've got that weird third button in the middle. So they're
Okay.
Series S, Series X style controllers.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta admit, that's the one thing that Microsoft has always done way better than Sony is getting a lot of personality in the controllers. I mean, you can buy
Definitely.
some controllers for your PS4 and PS5, but they just don't have the range. Like all the
Mhm.
different crazy colors, the fact that you could build your own to look however you want it on their labs. I don't know if they've restarted that labs yet. I know they shut it down about a month before the new consoles came out, so they could get them to the new updated version.
Okay.
But yeah, Microsoft has always had just way better looking controllers in terms of personality and style.
Mhm. Yeah. Speaking quickly about the Mando himself and the child or Baby Yoda or whatever you want to call him these days. Um, they did announce in the Game Awards. I haven't really got too many thoughts on this. I just wanted to kind of include it here. Kratos, Master Chief, Daryl and Michonne from Walking Dead, and Mandalorian are all now either going to be in Fortnite soon or already in there. So that's Fortnite for you. So I don't have any thoughts on that really. I play Fortnite when my sister and my niece and nephew want to play it, but other than that I don't go on the game. So any thoughts on any of those characters being added?
Uh, it is what it is. I
Yep.
mean, they're going to do that eventually. That's how they keep that game relevant.
Mhm.
Because remember, they did themed ones for both Infinity Wars and Endgame.
Yeah, they put Thanos in there.
Uh, and I know they've done themes for other things as well. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't play those style of games, but I'm not going to crap all over it because, it's just marketing.
Yep. But just wanted to include that. Yeah, it's cool that you can. I'll have to look this Mandalorian controller up and have a look at that. But yeah, I've still just got my blue and my white PS4 controller. One of them's actually connected to the adapter on my Switch dock, and then the other one I use regularly with my PlayStation. But if one of them messes up, I can just use the other one, which is good. So, what else did you want to talk about today?
Uh, Ordinarily in a normal sane world, I'd already be booking my ticket, but we can't travel right now.
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario World at Universal Studios Japan is getting ready to open up once that country opens back up. They did a Nintendo Direct on the 18th, and they showed some footage. In the video, Shigeru Miyamoto, who created the Super Mario franchise, walks around the land. You enter the that part of the brain fart
The park.
entertainment camp. I can't think of the word entertainment camp. Anyway,
Right.
there's a giant warp pipe. You walk into that into Peach's castle. There's some kart racing for kart racing enthusiasts. There's bands. There's like blocks you can hit to unlock hidden items. All kinds of crazy stuff. You should really see the video of it. It's cool. I want to go like right now.
Yeah, I haven't been to any kind of theme park for a long time.
Theme park. Thank you. That my brain
Is
would
that the word you were actually looking
not pull
for?
that word out of the air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I haven't been to one of them in a long time. I think the last time I went was like Thought Park, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. But yeah, it's always cool when you have themed versions of them. I remember when I did went on the Saw ride, which was actually quite cool. Um, there's some like Walking Dead attractions that don't really well, they're just sort of generic zombie attractions. One of them's got a bit more. There's two. I know that there's two Walking Dead attractions. One of them's a ride, I think, and one of them's like a walkthrough thing. I think one of them actually got closed down. I'm not completely sure about that, but one of them was just like this really generic zombie thing, and then the other one actually had like specific things from the series. But I think one of them's closed. But yeah, I mean, adding video games to it would be great. Obviously, all the Disney theme parks speak for themselves. Star Wars, Marvel, Disney, Pixar. I'd love to go to one of them. Because I'd love to go on the new Toy Story thing that they've got as well. That would be cool. I'd imagine it would be incredibly expensive to go there, but
Oh yeah,
I do
it's
want to do that one day. And they've got, is it Galaxy's Edge as well, like with the Millennium Falcon and stuff.
hmm
That's really cool. So yeah, a lot of the places are really exciting, and I can't think of as many video games that have done it as opposed to films that have got theme parks. Like there's been Terminator rides and Jaws, and like I said, all the Disney stuff that's out there. But yeah, there isn't that many, at least from what I know. I mean, I haven't got the most experience with theme parks, but video games would be cool to add to it as well. Like speaking of zombie stuff, you could do like a Last of Us kind of thing. maybe as well. I mean, you could have a whole, you could have because you said this is like a Nintendo themed kind of place.
Hmm.
You should probably get one that's PlayStation themed as well, with all the PlayStation stuff, and one that's Xbox themed as well. Like you could have some cool space stuff with Halo maybe in there. There's tons and tons of ideas that you could use. Even third party as well, like an Assassin's Creed attraction or like a Watch Dogs thing or something. There's tons of options. But what do you think?
Well, the original Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, I actually went the year that it was opened. I was 19, so that
Mm.
was almost 30 years ago. The thing that I like most about it, I mean, all the rides were obviously movie themed since it is Universal Studios. So everything was like Back to the Future or this and that and the other.
Yeah.
The thing I liked is that they figured out a way to make the lines move really, really fast. You still spend a crazy amount of time in lines, you just don't feel it because the way that the rides are set up is like most of them are kind of a virtual ride, to where you're in like a room with a screen and then you're on whatever that's on a piston that pivots up and down and all around.
Mm.
Or if it's a travel, they just don't have a long series of carts. You just have a cart go, and that way you just, how's it doing? Keep it moving,
Mm.
kind of a thing. So, because if you're moving, six people every 30 seconds, you blow through that line pretty quick. Um, it was a fun time. I had a blast. Some friends of my parents had kids that were my age, and the four of us went, and we just kind of hung out all day. It was a ton of fun.
Mm.
Haven't been back since, but that's just because I'm solo. It's kind of weird to go to those places when you're just by yourself,
Yeah.
especially when you're somebody my age. It's super weird.
Mm. Um,
But yeah, I would love to go. I've always wanted to go to Japan, but that's one of those things that I'd have to go with somebody that spoke the language because I can't speak any Japanese,
mm,
and I
yeah.
don't want to be a dumb tourist.
Right.
As someone who grew up in a town where there's a lot of people coming outside the state and outside the country in, and you see both sides of that, I just don't want to be a dumb tourist.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, I remember going to Thorpe Park with my sister about 5 or 6 years ago. That was the last time I went to a theme park, and there was one ride that we queued up for 2 hours, and like it was a great day and all that. I had a lot of fun. But there was one ride that we queued up for 2 hours. The ride lasted 30 seconds, and it was very head bumpy, if that's a word to use, and yeah, it was over very quickly. But that wasn't very good. But other than that, it was quite a good day that we had. So anyway, let's move on from that. What else did you want to talk about today?
Uh, well, as you know, EA's Play became a part of Game Pass earlier this year,
Mm-hmm.
and so a lot of the EA Play games are available if you have Game Pass or Ultimate. The service was supposed to come to PC, but that's getting delayed until after outside 2020 into 2021, which is weird to think about that 2020 is almost over.
Yeah,
They
there's
don't
like
give a specific
11 days left.
yeah,
So
they don't give a specific day when it's gonna come, but it will be in PC probably like the first month or so.
cool.
I'm sure they're just getting some testing done, make sure that it works okay on the
Mm,
PC.
yep.
But outside of that, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that it's already on console. It's just getting um, pushed back later.
Cool. Yeah, I mean that's fine. You got to make sure that things work and all that. You can still get it on Xbox and whatnot. I did actually. Oh, that's something I forgot to talk about. I did try to use what's it called? To stream my Xbox to my phone. I can't remember what the thing's actually called. And it didn't work very well. So I basically just tried to play normal game of FIFA. The menus were like a little bit laggy. I went into just a kickoff game. As soon as I started passing the ball around, it just cut out. So, but I tried it out. I remember saying before I was curious to try it out because Stadia doesn't work either, at least for me, and I tried it out. So, but yeah, I did sign up to Game Pass recently because I wanted to play Ori and try out Gears Tactics and those sorts of things. Or continue with Ori, the second game, and try out Gears Tactics. But yeah. We will see when Game Pass gets launched. Do you think it'll be just like January 2021 probably?
January, maybe February,
Yeah.
March at the absolute latest.
Cool. All right. So we'll see what happens with that. What else did you want to talk about? today?
Uh, well, this is from the category of what the hell is wrong with you. There was a thing that went viral a couple weeks ago about this 6-year-old Call of Duty player called Rowdy Rogan apparently getting banned
Because he's 6 years
from
old.
Activision. He's 6, but he's got 95,000 followers on Twitch and 132,000 followers on YouTube. He put his parents put a video on his Twitter account that looks like it's him getting banned. Uh, Turns out that was just a big scam. It was a con cooked up by his dad to try to get him on the FaZe Clan's radar and try to get him some kind of interaction with that. It's like, what in the actual hell, people? You're using your 6-year-old kid as a prop for something like this. I'm done with people. I'm just done.
Yeah, yeah, it's not great. I mean, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, he's already. It sounds like he's already doing. I can't remember the numbers that you just said, but for YouTube and Twitch, already doing
Yeah.
quite well. And he's only 6. I mean, he shouldn't be playing Call of Duty. That's the other part of this.
That's his parents' decision.
Sure.
More, he
Yeah,
shouldn't have a Twitch and a YouTube because you have to be 13 to have a YouTube, I think. And I don't know
I
how
think you
old you have
do.
to be to have a
Yeah,
Twitch, but I know there's an age requirement for that.
yeah. Because there's an upload option for YouTube, like a made for kids thing for
Yeah.
if it's 13 and under, it is for kids. If it's intended for over 13, then you don't click that button. Um, and I never clicked the button, and I've never gotten any messages about that or anything. So, I remember when YouTube was doing that. I can't remember the name of the actual program thing for it, but like if I remember they said something about like if you upload a video and you do click the under 13s button and it's not suitable for that, then you'll get like fined. But then I never heard about anybody getting fined. I think that was launched at the start of this year, and everyone got like really panicky about they'd have to pay loads of money for videos. But once it actually launched, I never heard about it. So I actually
So I
forgot
didn't
it
even
was a
know it was
thing.
a thing, but then I never, well, not never. I've uploaded, I think, like 4 videos to my YouTube account.
Uh huh.
I just never got around to making anything out of that.
Mhm. Yeah. So, but yeah, that is what it is. So, what else did you want to talk about today?
We'll end on a funny note. The people that know me know I love harmless trolls. Like when you do something that's a troll but nobody gets hurt, it's not, pissing anybody off. You're just doing it for yucks and you get it through. Love it. It's one of my favorite things. Like back in April, the Twitch streamer and Sweet Anita tweeted out a troll saying that she started an OnlyFans account and it was just a link to a SoundCloud file playing that Jebaited song.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember
That
that.
was hilarious. So KTVZ21 in Oregon is a news channel, and they have an out and about segment that promotes outdoor activities, hiking, landscaping, photography, things like that. And they let viewers submit pictures. Well, this guy's daughter submitted 2 pictures from Red Dead Redemption 2 for their out and about story, and they fell for it both times. So they're actually looking at the shot. You can see it's on the news, and they're saying out and about courtesy, and they give the girl's name, and it's Red Dead 2, which is hilarious, absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, as long as if you're doing a prank like that, as long as you're not stealing something from somebody or hurting yourself or whatever, then that's fine. You know, but yeah, I mean that's all in good spirits. That's pretty cool. Do you know what the pictures were at all?
Just of scenery because it's out and
Oh, just
about,
oh
so
right,
it's
yeah,
like landscape. Like if you ever looked up landscape photography or anything like that,
okay,
basically that's just what it is.
cool. All right. Any thoughts on this yourself?
Like I said, I think it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But past that, no, good on her. You make them fall for it twice, that's on them. So,
hmm Cool. All right. Anything else you want to talk about today?
no, that's all I had. So,
Cool. All right. That's all the news and the impressions and whatnot. Let's finish off. This is the last podcast for the year as well. Let me just actually try to decide this now. I'll bring up my calendar. So you're going to be back at your old job, you said?
yep,
Soon?
starting next week.
Okay. So we'll be back on the Tuesday, sort of late-ish
Yeah.
schedule, like you said about before. So we've either got the 5th or the 12th of January that we can do. I'll see how I feel on the 5th, because I'm a little bit burned out from content at the moment, because it's been, a while since I've had a break. So I'll see how I feel on the week of the 5th. If not, we will come back on the 12th, which is the week after. Is that good with you?
Hmm.
Yep. So that is the Christmas week. So next week is the Christmas week, basically, like the 23rd and 4th and 5th. Then you've got the end of the year to the start of the year, so sort of the 30th through to the 1st and 2nd and all that. Then the week after that, which is the week of the 5th, and then the one after that, which is the week of the 12th. So a couple of weeks away. There won't be any massive news, I don't think, unless it's like updates for Cyberpunk and stuff, which we can talk about that pretty much when we come back. But the Game Awards are done. We know kind of what's coming out at the start of the year and all that sort of thing. So I don't think we'll miss anything too massive outside of like Cyberpunk patch updates and stuff. So yeah. But let's move on to, so that's that sorted. Let's move on to the questions, feedback and whatnot. You can send yours in. You can still send them in. We'll just add them up to the next podcast next year. Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK. There's a contact page and information in your show notes. Jordan starts off, and he or she, I don't know if this is a man or a woman, because you can be called Jordan if you're either, and I don't have that information to hand, but so The Last of Us 2 had won 4 Game of the Year awards. There was actually, I think, a few more than that, but Game of the Year awards, yeah, because it won Joystick Game of the Year, PlayStation Game of the Year, and like I said earlier, there was that one other place that it won Game of the Year, but I can't remember where it was. So yeah, 4 Game of the Year awards. Has a game done that before? It probably has, not to my recollection that it's done that. I know God of War did really, really well when it came out. But in terms of like winning, like, I don't know, Golden Joystick Awards or Game of the Year and PlayStation Game of the Year, I can't think of a game off the top of my head that's done that before. Can you think of one?
Not immediately, but then a lot of these awards are kind of newer. So, going back
Yeah,
even 10
yeah.
years, we didn't have as many award shows. So it's kind of hard to say if
Mhm.
one has or hasn't done that yet. So,
Yeah, yeah. So maybe they have, maybe they haven't. My guess would be something like God of War, or because that was the God of War Red Dead Spider-Man year, wasn't it? 2018.
hmm
So I'm guessing those awards were probably a little bit more shared out, but not that I recall. So
yeah,
uh,
and I'm sure like the year Halo 3 came out, it won a bunch of awards.
probably something like that. Yeah. Call of Duty Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare won quite a lot when that came out.
Yeah.
I think that won Game of the Year twice, and I've never known a game to do that before, because I know that it won Game of the Year for 2007 and for 2008. Obviously things were a bit different back then. I don't know how that happened, because technically if you win Game of the Year for 2008 but you got released in 2007, you shouldn't really be eligible, especially if you got nominated and won the year before. But you're talking 12 or 13 years ago, so things were different back then. Harrison says, so Harrison writes in again, "Hey lads, thanks for a great 2020 and all the advice and general entertainment you have given me. Have a great Christmas, lads." Well, thank you very much for writing in on the different occasions that you have. I hope you and your, yes, it's son, isn't it, that he's written about before. I hope you and your son have a very good Christmas. Hopefully you have a good time together and all that. I don't know his situation outside of that, but I hope you have a very good Christmas as well. Thank you very, very much for writing in on the different occasions that you have. Anything to
Yeah,
add
and
to
thank
that?
everybody for that writes in, because
Of course, yeah.
that's really helpful for us, because one, it reminds us that people are actually listening,
Hmm.
and two, I love writing into the shows that I listen to, and it's
Yeah.
always good to get that fan interaction. So I love it on both ends. So keep writing in, even if it's just a silly question. If you
Hmm.
want to ask something completely random, go ahead and do that.
Yep. Cool. But yeah, thank you to everybody who has written in as well, and I hope all of you have a very good Christmas and a good start to the year. And finally, Yasmin says, what are you two planning to play for the Christmas break? I'm going to be playing more Animal Crossing and starting Sackboy on PS4. I have got Sackboy on my Boomerang list as well, so I might get sent that at some point. Oh, I did get an email the other day that Spider-Man Miles Morales for PS4 is on the way. I don't know when that will arrive, because you're talking about Royal Mail. I doubt it will actually be next week. It will probably be the week after that. But we shall see. For me, Cyberpunk, still playing bits of that. If Spider-Man arrives, I'll play some of that. I'm sure I'll play some Call of Duty over the break. Try and finish Mario Sunshine, because I've got, I think it's 11 shines or whatever it's called to get. I think it's that many that I've got left. What else was I going to play? Try and finish Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which came out in like March or whenever, because I've got that on Game Pass, so I need to go and finish that. I can't think of any VR games that I've got to play. I remember last year for the Christmas break, I'm sure I was playing Astrobot, the VR game, not Astro's Playroom on PS5, Astrobot, the VR game. That might have been Christmas 2018. It was either 2018 or 2019, I can't quite remember, but that was quite good to do over the Christmas break as well. But that's mostly going to be from me. I've got like tons of shows and films and other things to watch as well. So, how about yourself?
I'm definitely going to finish the main story with Cyberpunk. I've already made that call. And then I'm probably just going to backburner it until I can either get a Series X and play it on a better looking setup, or they come out with enough patches to where it's looks better on my system. Then I'll probably go back to Assassin's Creed Valhalla and finish that story off, just because I want to kind of see how the story goes. Might dip into Animal Crossing a little bit every now and then.
I forgot that you've got a Switch. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it and I barely use it, but that's on me. That's on me, not anything else. What really weirded me out, we talked about this off air, but I wanted to get Breath of the Wild as a part of like either a Black Friday or a Cyber Monday, but it never went on sale, which is weird that it's basically a 3-year-old game still at full price.
It is.
On pretty much anywhere where you buy it. So.
Yeah. No, I've seen it on sale once in the 3 years it's been out, almost 4 years. Next year, because it's a 2017 game. So yeah, March next year it'll be 4 years old, which is crazy that Breath of the Wild is almost 4 years old. But yeah, I've seen that game on sale once the entire time it's been out. Even like Black Friday sales and Christmas sales and Switch sales, it's never been on sale other than once, at least that I've seen. And it was £30 at the time. Because I couldn't rent that game through Boomerang because they just kept having no stock for it, because well everybody that had a Switch at the time was playing it, so I just never got a chance to rent it. But I didn't mind paying for that. It was a great experience. But yeah,
and that's why I've never
Breath of the
done.
Wild's just never really been on sale. So
yeah, and that's why I've never done the rental service, because imagine trying to logistically do that for a country with 350 million people. Nothing would ever be in stock. You couldn't buy enough stock to logistically do that. Yeah. Like you could maybe do it state by state, have like a rental service, but in one state. Even then, your stock's going to be pretty thin. So,
I mean, Boomerang's been reliable for the most part. For the 3 years that I've had it, I remember I signed up on a Christmas 1 year. I think can probably look it up on my account or something, but I'm pretty sure I've had it for about 2 or 3 years. And the only time I didn't deactivate it, but put it on like a rental holiday thing was when I had Last of Us, because I bought that game and then I knew I wasn't going to play anything else for like a couple of weeks. So that was the only time I sort of put that on hold. But it's been pretty reliable other than that. So yeah, I've got Sackboy on my list. Haven't had it sent to me yet. I do have, like I said, Spider-Man on the way, so if that arrives I'll play that. But yeah, time will probably go faster than what we expect, and we'll be back doing the next podcast before you know it. So again, thank you everybody very, very much who's written in this year and listened and supported the podcast and enjoyed it and everything like that. Robert, thank you for joining me this year for all the episodes that we've done. And we'll probably be doing the Arrowverse shows, I imagine, at some point in February as well.
Yeah, I think they come back in February.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you, Robert, for joining me this year as well. I know that your work schedule's been a little bit difficult sometimes, and you try to fit the podcast around that. So thank you very, very much for doing all of that. And until next time, we will see you in the future on entertainmenttalk.org. If you like what you've heard today and you want to support more of it, you can support us on Patreon. There is the $1 and $3 level tiers for ad-free podcast and review options. Word of mouth and social media, you can simply tell people that you know about the content that we've got, either word of mouth or social media, Facebook, Twitter, Facebook groups, whatever you use, all of that. If you want your up-to-date reliable TV and film news, Geektown is your go-to for that. Geektown.co.uk and Geektown Radio on Tuesdays. That's on a Christmas hiatus at the moment, the podcast for that. If you still want to enter in the Geektown Awards, which you can still do, geektown.co.uk/awards. There's also probably a link on the website that David's put. Go and vote on your favourite shows, games and films for 2020 and your most anticipated for 2021. You've got until the 31st of December to enter into that as well, into the prize draw and stuff, and to vote. So make sure you go and do all of that as well. For Twitch, in the meantime, I'll be streaming bits and pieces over the Christmas break. I don't know when or what games, but pretty much the same games I've been playing. You can find me on Twitch, eTalksUK. You can also find Bex. I don't know her Christmas schedule, but look out for her on Twitch as well. Tristabytes, TristaBYTES. Just go and follow both of us on Twitch, and you'll be notified when we go live. And look out for Let's Play Sundays as well. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great Christmas. Have a very good start to your year when that happens, and we will see you next year. Goodbye.
Goodbye.